long sleeve layers at the moment, so I feel you.
Right?
You know, because it's only 60 degrees outside.
It's like 15 here.
So, yeah, this is
Ah!
yeah.
The only noise I know how to make anymore.
So it is now like 15 minutes past the completion of I Am the First.
Ah!
And we ended with it doesn't show the percentage. That's my favorite part. Oh wait, maybe that's my dashboard. We ended with
Oh my word.
$6,710, 150 backers, and we completed with 223% funding.
I can't even. I don't
And
even understand.
I need to share this screen because this is, if you guys knew how neurotic I was refreshing the screen like every 5 minutes.
Refreshing the screen all morning. Just like, what's it doing now?
Every morning I get up and I look at this screen, and the first thing I do, and you can see it happened right here. Oh no, that one's even. Where is it? Oh, right there. We dipped.
Oh no, yes, because somebody canceled.
Someone canceled, so we went
That's a
down
thing
$30.
that happens. Sometimes people cancel.
And let me just tell you, I woke up angry that day. December 5th was not a happy day for me.
Very upset about that.
But I just think it's amazing. Like, if you just look at it, like, there were a couple big jumps, but like, there's just this beautiful steady curve upward, and then holy hell. So, and can you imagine the people who are doing the Kickstarters for like tens of thousands of dollars? Like,
Oh, no, I can't. I cannot imagine. I'm trying to share our stream to get people to come hang out with us.
This whole thing is just.
This is.
So yeah.
So now we're celebrating.
Yeah, which is more us just being in a complete and utter stupor because
I actually got some kind of bubbly, not champagne, because I live in the wilderness and you literally can't find champagne here. It's not a thing. They don't have it at the store.
Champagne.
It's not a thing that you can get. All right, it's still like under pressure though, and I'm gonna try not to like break. I'm gonna try not to like break a monitor. Okay.
As long as you get the poppy sound, it's all good.
I got the poppy sound. I got the popping sound. Now we shall celebrate. I'm sorry that you're like 1,000 miles away from you, so I can't actually share this with you.
But I have a new house.
Ah, yes.
So
we're gonna have to have a proper party.
Yeah, just say it's an excuse to go visit Savannah. I'm only like 6 hours away.
And North Carolina is Savannah. Although it's probably more like 4 hours for where you are, because Savannah is like right on the South Carolina line. So
I would go to Savannah again in a heartbeat. So not to SCAD. No, not even a little.
not gonna go back there.
That day will not happen. But yeah, I'm starting to move into so the craziness that was going on behind all of this is Amanda's got 2 kids and a husband, so basically 3 kids. And
sorry, Derek.
Yeah, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
And of course, school's happening for them, and school in modern times is kind of a disaster.
Yeah, school right now is a thing. My kids randomly end up having to stay home for like a week or 2 weeks, and we never know when it's going to happen. They just stay home sometimes. Sometimes they stay home because they have a runny nose and they're told to quarantine, and sometimes they stay home because their school has shut down and gone remote because enough teachers are sick that they can't keep school open. And we never know when this is going to happen. It just happens.
So yeah, she's got that going on. And during this process, I have moved twice,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a third one on the horizon.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you don't have your knight in shining armor behind you anymore.
oh yeah, I'm actually in so my roommates bought a house and we left Murder House, so no more
More
no
murder
more
house.
Sir Gerald or Frank the Lizard. Though the spirit of Sir Gerald has followed us, I'm sure. But I am now in their bonus room, and my office is like 300 square feet.
Oh, jeez.
Like this bonus room is,
it's one of those like big old over the garage rooms.
yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And I mean, it's wonderful and everything, but like I look at it and I'm like, geez, it's the size of my whole new house. So yeah, during this whole thing, I moved a couple times, and you know, we're trying, like, this is as set up as it is, like boxes everywhere, like
Yeah.
everything's still in totes.
That's fine.
So
It's
you know,
fine. Clearly your computer's out, so it's functional.
yeah, I'm using my TV stand as a desk, so it works. Why not? So yeah, all of that was going on in the background. So as when we first launched this, I just thought it was really funny because we had comments, like we were going back and forth about worst case scenario, like what if it doesn't fund?
Right.
And then 24 hours after that, we had to have a very different conversation.
Yeah. So it went like a lot. Obviously, we're both kind of like I think the polite term is realistic. I think the more accurate term might be pessimistic. We're both fairly like worst case scenario planner type people. So we were like, oh, well, if it doesn't fund, what do we do? And blah, 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 blah. We're both just like, what? Things are succeeding? That
And
can't be real.
within like the first couple hours, like it was during the hour live stream, we hit the halfway mark, and I was like,
Yep.
this is,
What is happening?
we're gonna have to have a very different conversation now. And so quickly after that, it was so about those stretch goals, and we're like, we didn't plan that far ahead.
We had like a couple of stretch goals, but they were like really, really early stretch goals. Like we blasted through those pretty quickly, and so it was just like, oh, okay, you're still have your screen share up. There we go.
We don't need to share that, so I'm just going to keep staring at the numbers.
Right. Now we get to figure out how to like print stuff and ship it and everything. Like obviously we already like figured out rough numbers for all of this ahead of time, but we had no way of knowing exactly how many like books that would end up being. So now we get to do the like for real numbers pass.
Yeah, and so during this whole thing, because I'm a spreadsheet guy, and again, worst case scenario person. So the whole time we were doing it, we like, well, okay, so how much is this going to be? Okay, let's look at the numbers for this, and okay, here's what the actual rough. Okay, worst case scenario. This is what we're. We really did worst case scenario every day.
Every day.
So yeah, that went way better than expected. I do kind of want to shout out some of the backers, because we had some like, oh my god, backers.
Yes. Some people went above and beyond with their support, which is really amazing.
So there's always those people who like, you always put in a tier that is kind of like an oh my god tier, and you kind of hope people will select it, but you kind of never really.
You don't
I mean,
expect it. You certainly
yeah.
don't like rely on that happening.
So we actually had 5 people at our top tier. So special shout outs for Miranda, Susan, aka Mama Flag, Jen F, Skirmisher, thank you, Skirmisher,
Oh, that's so
and
awesome.
Corey. Um, that was really not expected. And
No, not at
special thanks
all.
for
Thank you so
Corey
much.
sweeping in at the last moment and making us scream a little.
I love all of the last minute backers the most. Those are my people. I think the majority of campaigns I've ever backed on Kickstarter has been like a remind me later, and then I get the email like 30 minutes before it ends and I'm like, "Ah! Oh yeah,
It,
that's right."
so the good news is, oh my god, we have so much good news here.
We do
Uh,
have a lot of good news.
so one, it's funded.
It's
Woo!
funded and the campaign is done so we can stop refreshing Kickstarter and actually get to work.
I know. What am I gonna? That's probably like 2 hours of my day I'm getting back.
Right.
So we managed to hit the stretch goal. So I'm gonna write a short story that is following the events of I Am the First, and I can't give away much of it because I don't want to spoil any of the actual comic at this moment. But I'm gonna have to say thank you to Mama Flag for this one because somewhere in the middle of the night she woke up and texted me and she was like, "The name of the epilogue has to be I Am the Next."
So good.
And the best
So
part to it
good.
was just like I Am the First. I came up with the name and I was like, I don't know what the story is. Like, it's just a really cool name.
It's a good name.
So for the epilogue, I was kicking around like very typical writer epilogues, like 5 years later, or a relationship, or what's the next major event. And I had no idea. So Mama Flag sends I Am the Next, and I was like, oh, there's a plot there. So yeah, that's going to be happening. And while I'm working on the prose version, there's also going to be a script written, and Amanda is going to be illustrating. Eventually, we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of drawing over the next better part of a year.
So that was the initial stretch goals, and we were like, oh, if one of them funds, great. Amanda was secretly hoping that I would have to write the epilogue and she wouldn't have to illustrate it. But funny story, she
I
has
have
to
to
illustrate
illustrate
it.
it. Yep.
Yep,
Yep. That has to
more.
happen.
And then, so we were like, what do we do now? And so we reached out to a friend of ours, Jesse Lundberg, who, if you are from New England and you go to Comic Cons, you know him as Harold the Happy Human Eater artist. And Jesse and Margaret, does she go
Margaret,
by
yeah.
Margaret? Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if she went by Margaret. They are steadfast in the con community in New England. So we reached out to him and we were like, hey, would you be willing to do some variant covers? And he was like, sure. So he's going to be doing a variant cover for the trade paperback and for the each individual issue. So there'll
Right.
be some bonus artwork happening. And then our stretch goal that we did not make, we came close, but
We
we
were
didn't
very
make it.
close, but we didn't quite get there. Yep.
Oh, close.
We're a lot closer than I expected.
Yeah, I feel like that was a super wishful thinking. So we reached out to Charles Simpson, who writes for Zero Gravity with Constant Hustle Comics, and we asked him if he would be willing to do a variant cover. And so he was like, sure. And same thing, trade paperback in 6 issues. So we didn't hit it. So we've reached out. We didn't want to make it an all or nothing. So we're currently negotiating some artwork from him. I can't say what yet. I'm waiting for messages, but Charles, we haven't forgotten you. You're still part of this. So
Yes. We still, since we were so close, we still want to get something from Charles included in this. And yeah, so we've reached out to him and we're waiting to hear back. And once that's confirmed, of course, then we'll gush about it publicly. But we're just waiting to get that ironed out with him.
And so, good news, like that's 4 creators benefiting off this. I'm kind of shocked. I haven't really gone into the backer report yet. But there were a lot of people who donated books to LGBT organizations in Maine. So that is a super cool thing. So we will have, like, I know it sounds like it's the two of us sitting up here and be like, all about us, all about us. But I think the best part of it is by funding this project, it has a bigger reach. And that
Right.
just kind of warms my cold, dead heart.
Yeah. So we will be sending copies of the book, which obviously the entire book, the trade paperback, isn't going to be out for a while. But when it is, a bunch of those copies have already been paid for by you guys to go to different LGBTQ organizations in Maine. And once we've loaded everybody up in Maine that we can with books, if we still have some left over that have already been purchased by you all, then we'll expand out to Greater New England.
But yeah, that's kind of a big deal because, these organizations, when I was a kid, they didn't even exist. Like it wasn't like a
Right.
closed
Yeah.
door situation. They just not a thing.
It was not a
And
thing.
now some schools have an organization, but like where we grew up, I don't know if the school does at the moment, but I know there is a community organization that services like 20 towns.
Yeah.
So, not perfect or ideal, but definitely things have kind of taken a step forward. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So here's the best part. Because of how well this went, Amanda doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to try and bully her into doing the same thing next November for the.
Okay. Amanda needs to survive drawing this comic first.
So for next November, gonna launch I Am the Last, to which I have started writing out the plot for.
Of course you
So
have. Of course you have. Because you can write one of these things in like a thousandth of the time it takes me to draw it.
the whole time I'm painting flats, I'm like, I could write a whole book in the amount of time this is taking me.
It's true. It's true.
So yeah, that is definitely something on the horizon. So this isn't a hit it and quit it type thing. We have ideas that we want to expand out on, and if it continues being a success, by all means, like we kind of came into this with a mission, and we got goals. So yeah. Oh my god. So I'll see if I can find one to share. I have the
You have the thing.
I have
I
issue
don't know.
2 on my computer.
Oh, yep. Oh, you've got the thumbnail the thumbnail presentation I put together for you.
So let's see if we can find one.
So it's an interesting thing, like trying to make a comic as like just a 2-person thing, because it's like, so like usually when you have a book that, either one person is working on, and it's just like when I work on Age of Night, it's just me, myself, just working on it, or you have like a whole team and then there's an editor in charge of it, and we don't have an editor, we're the editors, like we got to figure it out, just the two of us. And so like the trying to find a good workflow for like, are we on the same page? Are we actually both producing the same thing that we're supposed to? It's interesting. I think we found some good solutions, but it's always just like hold on. Are we actually understanding each other correctly here?
Well, and that was I'm actually kind of amazed at the amount of, so like when I'm writing a script, I treat it, best way I know how is doing like a
It's like a screenplay.
like a screenplay.
Is
So I
what your
write it like,
scripts look like, yeah.
I've been in plays, I've done theater quite a bit, so those I understand pretty well. So that's kind of how I went about it. And even then, trying to be like, oh, it needs to have, XYZ, and what does this mean? And what are you trying to say here? Um, and then having that conversation, and then you kind of have to have it back the other way with, here are the visuals. Does it make cohesive sense?
Right. And is this doing visually and like tonally what you intend it to be? Because the other thing too is that like so much of the tone in comics is carried by the visuals and not the
Hmm.
words on the page. And so it's like if I don't actually understand just from reading the words what the tone for a scene is, I can draw it in a way that's totally wrong and send it back and have to be like, about that.
And this time it was interesting because you included the script. On the first issue, you didn't include the script.
Yeah, and I realized that that could lead to some confusion, so I put it together as like a slideshow and like sent it back to Jeremy as like, here's the page that I drew with the page of script that it is referencing, so you know exactly what I'm doing.
And even this time, I went through it and I looked at it without following with the words, because I was curious. Like, it's been a while since I've read all the scripts for it. So I got to go on like a visual journey, and then I went back and read it because that's how I actually read comics. I never read the comic the first time through. I always just
Hmm.
look at the pictures to see what the story is, and then go back, and then the words fill in my details. And so this one did the same thing. Like, there was a visual story being told that even if we removed all the text, I think you would get the kind of the ethos of the comic really well. So kudos to you on that.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I succeeded at my job.
So this is one of the panels, and then I have to show it out of context because I'm not spoiling anything here.
We're not
But
giving away nothing. You're gonna have to tune in and watch and find out what happens.
and the page before this, I have to say, looking at it, I it was the one part of the script I remembered, and when I was looking at it, like, oh my god, the anxiety involved
It
on
was
that
so
page.
it was so hard to work on.
And then, okay, so if you read any of my normal novels, like the super anxiety page, and you're like, it needs some relief, and then normally in my books I just kill someone. And so as I'm
This
reading
isn't
this,
that type of book, though.
yeah, so on this one, the anxiety's there, and suddenly I'm like, I need to turn the page, like, what's going to happen? And there's this just super sweet moment between the two characters, and it 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 was a roller coaster.
Feelings. This isn't the worst one. This scene wasn't the worst one though in chapter 2. Like the worst scene for me in chapter 2 was a little bit earlier. Like when I reread the script, because I had read the script quite a while ago when we were first figuring everything out too. And when I reread it and got to that scene, I was just like, oh no, it's like a gut punch. And I'm just like, oh no, this is terrible. This is so terrible.
And then if we were releasing this as a standard comic, I got to the final page, and I was so angry that there wasn't a page after. Like,
Yes, good.
the first comic sets up a potential storyline. So it's a lot of introduction, it's a lot of situational development, and when you get to the end of that one, you realize where the story is going to go. It kind of
Right.
pushes you in a direction. This one, I think, sets up the uncertainty of conflict. And
Mm-hmm.
this one is more a personal conflict, and the next three issues carry on the personal conflict, but let the superhero element start to shine
Right. And
through.
the superhero element gets to come to the fore now that we've done all this like character establishment type stuff.
I still find it kind of funny rereading the script. So I went back and read all the scripts again, and it is not as much a superhero story as I thought I would have written.
There's still superhero stuff. Don't worry. There's
Oh
still
yeah,
plenty of superhero stuff.
but it is, the superness is the backstory, is the background element.
Yeah, it's like the B plot, basically.
Yes.
Well,
And
that's
the
how I've been describing it to people like during the campaign is like, so it's basically like a coming of age story where this kid is dealing with the fact that he has a terrible home life and he's gay in a rural town and also, oh shit, I have superpowers.
yeah, it truly is an oh shit, they have superpowers. Um
Like, and also there's this.
the and I like now in the comic we've met all the characters. And we very intentionally kept this to a very small cast because
Yep.
we wanted the situation to be intimate. We wanted the relationships to be intimate. And there is a great parallel story running between Alec and his best friend, estranged friend. We're not really sure yet. And how their lives have been so similar but so drastically different. And I absolutely love it. And if you've watched any of Amanda's drawings or how she's coloring, I love that there's even a color story to support the character developments.
I swear I got a degree in this for a reason.
Um, and if you haven't, you absolutely need to watch her live stream where she is doing the colors, because as she explains her process, it's a lot of I have multiple art degrees, and as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, don't know
Oh
if I
yeah.
would have incorporated that, but that's
Right.
really smart.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of fun doing the art streams because I love to talk about process, and it's like I don't want to just like I feel like kind of a dork just like posting unsolicited on social media about like, hey, I'm going to talk about my art process, but it's like, okay, I have a live stream where I will work on art and I will talk about process because that's what I'm doing right now. And if you show up, it's because this is what you want. You want to listen to me talk about process.
And it is if you are interested in comics, period, it is just something really cool to watch because I've read them my whole life, but that doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. that that was Amanda's job.
You know, like anything, there's different layers of like enjoyment and appreciation and understanding what goes into it. Like you can enjoy something and maybe not understand much about it. Like that's totally fine. You're allowed to just, you know, read comics and be like, I like comics. You don't have to know a lot about them, but if you want to learn more about them, I will gladly talk about them all day long.
So yeah, the we have the thumbnails for issue 2.
Yeah.
Amanda's you started the ink process, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've got the one that I've been working on the stream, on my art streams while this has been going on. I just scanned and cleaned up today, actually, while I was in between refreshing the Kickstarter page. So
Do you save the flats when you're done?
the flats, no.
Like no,
Oh,
the paper.
the pieces of
Yeah.
paper. Yeah, I've got drawers of them. I have piles of paper all over the place. Piles. I have all of the first chapter is in a drawer, like right next to me over there, and so I'm starting the next chapter. This is the first fully inked page of the next chapter. There are several more pages that are like in various stages of getting to this stage, but this is the first one that's done because I did it on my live stream.
So for the next Kickstarter, we might have to give away.
Oh, you want to give away original pages? I mean, some
Original
people are
pages.
really into that. We could.
So
Some people are the art collectors would like that.
from the original Spider-Man, which one was it? The Spider-Man cartoon that came with X-Men in the 90s.
Yeah.
I have an original cell from that.
Oh, that's so cool. Original animation cells are a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so funny because you think you're going to get like the scene, and then you realize how animation works, and it's just
it's yeah,
just him in the corner.
Yep, because that's how animation works.
Um,
Sometimes I've seen some places they sell animation cells and they'll like have like a print of the
yeah.
background that it was in like framed behind it. But a lot
Oh,
of times they're just like, here's just the animation cell. There you go. Do what you want.
it's basically like a clear overhead
Yeah,
piece of plastic.
because cell stands for like celluloid, because that's what it used to be made of. I don't know if they're still made of them anymore. They're probably just plastic at this point, but
There was an animator that I really, really love. He did a music video where he did it all in Flash or in
Mhm.
whatever it's called now, and but he hand drew it all out, and he was given away. He was a special effects animator for Osmosis Jones, and
Oh, cool.
he, oh my god, it was just amazing. And I was like, I want one of those cells, but the one I wanted when I was going to check out was gone.
Oh,
Someone
no.
sniped me.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I'm a little nerve-wracked to see issue 3. I think that's the one.
That's the one where I'm gonna have to like do some significant research because of the setting.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, we have I do have some images somewhere that I pulled from Millinocket, like specific buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once upon a time, many, oh my god, like 20 plus years ago.
Okay, past statute of limitations, yes.
Yeah. Hillary Roberts and I would go randomly driving to Millinocket because, it's a city for us. And we came across an old building that I believe it was an old hospital, and
Okay.
it just looked like the place where horrible things happen.
Oh no.
And it had been shut down for a long time. So I mean,
Yeah.
it had like the urban decay look to it and everything, which
Yes.
I love.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna have
But
to.
that was the building where they eventually wind up in my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Gonna have to do some looking up of like urban exploring YouTube or whatever for this. Because I don't have time to get arrested for trespassing in a shut down industrial location.
If I remember correctly, it didn't even have a fence. Like it was boarded up, but you could walk right up to the building.
Just gonna
And it was
waltz right
like,
in. It's fine.
yeah. I mean, not like I ever did that. The little church is, I guess, the cutest word that you can get for it. Chapel
Hmm.
that's in LaGrange on the road that's always been boarded up.
Yes.
I've broken into that so many times.
Do you know someone bought that and they renovated it and it's a house now? They're living
Oh,
in
that
it.
is so cool.
Yeah, when I first saw like somebody like cleared away the underbrush and there was a vehicle out in front of it, I was like, "What is happening?"
So
They live in it. That's so
it,
cool.
and it was always maintained. Like
Mm-hmm.
they made sure the interior stayed really well. But one day I drove by and I noticed the board on the front was loose. So I decided to take advantage of it. And then later for a U.S. history project, Katie Joyce, Josh Decker, and I broke into it to take photos. Such rebels.
Yeah. It's okay. High school was a
Um,
long time ago. You can't get arrested for it now.
oh, thank God. If there had been social media, it would have been so screwed.
Right.
So yeah, I guess the big question is now what's next? What's on our to-do list?
So at this point, so the first chapter is already done. We had that like 99% done. We just had to tie up a couple of little things when the Kickstarter launched, and now it's done, completely done. And we're going to be publishing it soon digitally. Obviously, we will announce to everyone exactly when that happens. We need to go back over like the next thing that Jeremy and I need to do is that we need to have like a series of meetings wherein we hammer out money stuff and timeline stuff and just business crap, and we get to do a
Would,
bunch of boring bookkeeping and planning is what really happens next on our
would like to
side.
remind people we didn't think that this was going to go so well. So we didn't have that
We
conversation
didn't have
yet.
that much of a plan yet. Like we had a vague plan, but we didn't do a plan yet because we're like, this might not do anything.
Like
Um,
our publication windows are like 3 months wide because we were like,
it's like,
we don't know.
who knows? May or may not happen. Yeah, so we need to have a bunch of conversations wherein we figure out exactly what the set dates on a calendar and set dollars amount and stuff like that are going to be. But the first thing that everyone will be seeing from us is very soon you will be seeing the first chapter will be published. It'll be sent out digitally to backers and published digitally online and available on various comics platforms online. So that's the thing that will be happening publicly soon from us. That's the next thing you can expect to see from us on this project.
Oh, that's kind of terrifying to think that we're at that step now.
Right. Oh, we finished the Kickstarter. Now we have to actually start giving people the stuff that they said we were going to give them.
We've talked about the thing. We actually
We have
have
to,
the thing.
we
Now
actually
we have to
we have to like
deliver the
give it
thing.
to people.
Oh,
Yeah, so and the plan from there is that every couple of months we're going to be publishing a new chapter of the story until we get to all 5 chapters being published and released, and then the trade paperback. I can't with words today. Then the trade paperback will be published and released as well and sent to all the backers who have already ordered one. So
and that's when we're gonna the digital products will officially become physical because uh just unfortunately in indie publishing, uh printing individual copies of a comic is just something that financially does not make sense.
it
um
doesn't make a lot of sense, especially with like shipping at this point. It's like if you had to ship each individual issue to everybody who backed like the whole thing, you'd be paying as much in shipping as you are for the comic ultimately. So that's why we decided we're just going to publish each chapter digitally and fulfill those digitally. And that's all in the Kickstarter. That's what it says in there. So this
yeah,
isn't like new information for anybody who's backed, but um that's why we're doing each chapter digitally and then just a trade paperback at the end, because it's a lot more feasible to just print and ship one book than 5 tiny books.
yeah, at that point the shipping is as much if not more.
Right, by the time you get to the end of it, because it's just shipping's kind of ridiculous at this point. It also ends up being like having to process that many physical things ends up being a huge time suck for us, which would push out the timeline on the whole thing and make it take a lot longer for us to actually finish the project because so much of our time and energy would be put into just that.
Yeah, the last Kickstarter I did was just for a book, one singular paperback. That's it.
One
And
book.
only half the tiers got it. And at the end, I turned into a fulfillment warehouse, and I had 4 boxes of books. These needed to go to authors, these needed to go here, and it turned into horrific. And so the idea that there's 150 backers, okay, that's 150 trade paperbacks at most. But then you think times 5 for the individual. Oh my God, you just we are over 1,000 deliverables. And oh my God,
No.
that would
No.
that would wind up being close to $4,000 worth of shipping.
Right. Yeah, which is why that just wasn't the way that we wanted to do this. So we think everyone will be a lot happier, including us, this way.
Your kids need to get a little bit older so they can be shipping monkeys.
Right. You put things in envelopes. You put labels on envelopes.
Today you shall lick the envelopes until your tongue goes dry. So yeah, that's kind of exciting to think, oh my God, now my publishing brain is in. We've got to put things here and we've got to upload things here and do this. And oh my God, what about the, oh dear God, so much to do.
Yeah. We get to have a bunch of really fun businessy strategy meetings and stuff.
Ugh,
But
that's tomorrow. Today's just basking in the
today is
wonderment.
celebrating.
Yeah, because let's just go right back to this one because this is way more fun. Woo!
Yay! Let's just look at this page, not worry about what that means.
Oh my God, that is so terrifying to think about.
It's a little bit terrifying, but we're doing it. Don't worry, guys. We're doing it. It's gonna
So
happen.
what you can do is you can fly to North Carolina and stay with me, and it's a tax write-off because you have to sign 6 books with me.
That's right. It's true. That is true. That'll happen eventually when we get to that stage.
Oh my God. Just write off. Be like, uh, this is a lot of money to write off because I signed 6 things.
Well, you know, we can do like a little Southeast book tour, do a bunch of like comic shops in the
Oh my God.
Carolinas. That'd be fun.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so weird. I'm not in Massachusetts, so I don't even know the comic book scene here.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you've got a few months to get familiar with it. So
Oh, I'm gonna have to start going comic book store hopping.
the
So weird to think
things
about.
you have to do when you move, you have to switch over all your utilities, find a new primary care provider, and find a new comic shop. These are the 3 priorities.
I did discover there is a Warhammer store here.
Oh, you have a Warhammer store? Oh, that's great.
And so
Those
I
are
got all
great.
the cover villain things.
Yes. Yep.
So
Your little
I
cover
went and got
villain.
Warhammer paint to paint them all.
Oh, that's fun.
So Warhammer people are a different breed of geek.
It's true. That's what my husband's one of them. I used to be one of them, but I don't have that kind of time. I have an entire graphic novel I need to draw now. I don't have time for Warhammer.
Oh my God. Well, so convention season's kind of over at this point, right?
Yeah, we're in the off season now. Conventions will kind of start back up again in like March. But I also don't really know like to what extent I'm going to cons this spring and summer, partially because everything is still just kind of like question mark. Like are events happening? Is going to events even remotely a good idea? I don't know. We're kind of in that like we're not sure what's going on zone still. So
The and it's weird to think, and this is super humbling. So all the work that we're doing, and you're like, okay, let's print up a bunch and we can start going to conventions and selling them. For all the work we're doing, there is one item coming at the end.
right.
Like
All of this, it's just gonna be like, here's our one book.
the one book
Here's our one book.
that is,
Comics are a lot of work.
yeah, like
It's a thing.
I'm so happy to officially like have my name on a comic, but wow,
I know,
writing novels is so easy.
isn't that thrilling? I know that it's funny too because you're like your experience as a novelist, and especially because you write very fast. Like as averages go, you write pretty quickly, and so you're just like, I just banged out a novel in like a couple of days, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna be drawing this comic for the next 10 months. I'll see you in a little bit.
If it makes you feel better, I've been working on the novel I'm working on right now. I wrote in 60 days 3,000 words, and I'm not kidding. I actually worked for those 3,000 words.
Had to pull every last one of them out of you.
Yeah, that it's rough.
Yep.
Like, ugh. But this is so exciting. So I guess either we're gonna sit here and keep gushing. So if you haven't already, I'm gonna put it up on the actual Kickstarter, and we'll be posting some updates for people to join the Facebook group. That's gonna be kind of our social media of choice off of Kickstarter.
Right.
By no means does anyone have to join it. It's there if people want to
It's
hang
there if you
out.
want to, yeah, and if you want to leave comments for us, or if you want to talk to other people who have backed the project or get. That's one of the places we'll be updating. Obviously, the primary place to get updates about the project itself, like and its progress, official progress, not just like shit posting from me and Jeremy, is going to be Kickstarter updates. Like anyone who backed will be getting those in their email when important things like digital issues being available or anything like that happens. That's where those will be going. But to just kind of like have a more casual fan interaction, that's what the Facebook group will be for.
And it's a great spot where it's a lot of other creators, a lot of
Yep.
other people in the industry. So if you're of interest, by all means, and you know, it's where we hang out and just shoot the shit. So
Yep. It's where where Jeremy and I complain about particularly grueling pages to work on.
Oh, so many libraries.
The damn library scene.
I think though I would choose the library over the living room.
Yeah, there was a lot of little stuff in the living
So
room.
many
It
beer
was
bottles.
very fiddly.
I can use the marquee tool for a book. I can't use it for a beer bottle.
Not so much, no.
Don't get me wrong. I try. I really do.
It's like, I'm gonna try my darndest to get this to work.
So I think that's everything. Like,
yeah.
Oh crap.
We can't possibly say thank you enough. Like, we cannot possibly extend the appropriate amount of like gratitude and awe that we feel about this whole thing. It's truly overwhelming.
It was one thing when we started this, and weirdly it was a comic book. It was an idea. It wasn't anything, super personal. And then kind of as we explored it more, and even after writing it, like we kept talking about it and the potential, and it even like we started talking about what it meant to us and community and like all this like really weird sappy stuff that who knew.
Right.
It got really personal, and there is nothing more touching than when you have that super personal thing that you are literally cutting open a vein and showing everybody, and people respond to it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
not just click a like, but they reached into wallets and pulled out money. And that
Right?
is
like, oh, you like mean this. Okay.
yeah, like this isn't just thoughts and prayers. Like you actually are making this happen. So that's for creators that you have, and I said this before, put food on tables, keep lights on. This is Christmas for families. Like this isn't just
filling my oil tank to keep us warm this winter.
Yeah, it's not yay, we're gonna go roll around in money. Like this is survival.
Right.
And people supported the cause enough that ugh. Yeah.
Absolutely wild. Can hardly believe it.
So I need to go write a whole lot of thank you posts to people now.
Yes.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, that is already started, but there will be a lot more of it because there is not enough thank you, and there's no way to adequately express how grateful we are for all of this. For all of the support. My camera's high up. I gotta lean back.
Well, thank you very much. We're gonna end it here because otherwise it's just gonna turn into teary-eyed mess, and
right.
I haven't had enough coffee for crying. Thank you a lot.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody.
And stay tuned because we're not done yet, because Amanda's going to be writing a whole new series next year, whether she wants to or not.
Oh no.
Take care.